Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Strand Tennis Center podcast, filled with tips, advice, tennis, not tennis, just life advice too, whatever you need. Like it on YouTube, share it on the podcast as well. Thank you.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Strand Tennis Center podcast. I'm your host. I'm Steve Capo. Luckily, we are here to have Jackie here who plays for Rutgers. Jackie, pronounce your last name so we get it right too.
Lopez.
Jackeline Lopez, because you never know. Yeah, don't worry. You always screw them up. It could be Lopez. It could, you have no idea. So I make sure I do these things right. Jackie just finished her season. We've been doing a mental toughness series, so I figured, why don't we get a Division I player on here to discuss it as well? But we have a lot of things to cover. I have a few copious notes, a little history about you, Jackie, which you probably don't think I would know. But why don't we start with your brother-in-law first and how that connection happened in regards to Rutgers in school.
So my brother-in-law, he went to Rutgers. He was on the track team. And just having him as a reference was really important for me in choosing Rutgers. He told me his amazing experience at Rutgers and all the commitments that were fun there. So yeah, having him around was really important for me to decide.
Were you, before Rutgers was on your radar, did you speak to him about Rutgers randomly? Would he talk about it and say, I love this school? Was it something that happened after you met Hillary and things like that?
Honestly, I'd never really talked to him about Rutgers. It really just came after Hillary contacted me because I was just really focused on junior tennis and not so much college. So
it wasn't like Hillary contacted you and then you found out your brother-in-law went to Rutgers, or you always knew? Like, did you always know your brother-in-law went to Rutgers? Like, sometimes people don't even know what their brother-in-law is doing, right? So you did. So you knew.
Yeah, I knew he was there. He met my sister through SAC, so yeah.
Okay. So give me a little history of that. I mean, we're going to go through some of the questions that we talked about and some people are interested in. Recruiting process. Go over that with me. Tell me how the pressures are. Do you feel, how much internal pressure do you put on yourself to get into a school that you feel like you should get into, or are you just kind of playing your tennis and doing your thing and people are reaching out to you?
Yeah, so the recruiting process was a little stressful. I feel like for anyone during that process, it can be a stressful time. Managing your time with tennis and school, and then on top of that, the recruiting. So it was stressful for me, and on top of that, it was during COVID, so I wasn't really able to visit schools in person. I was mostly just visiting through virtual stuff. The only one I really got to visit was Rutgers, and I fell in love with it when I came here.
So that's probably obviously the difference. How do you get any feeling from a virtual meeting? Like, how does that go? Describe that to me.
Yeah, it's very different. You don't have that same experience as obviously visiting in person. But, for example, I did Arizona. I did a virtual tour. It was a really nice campus, but I just didn't like how it was so far from home and being my sister's, so yeah.
University of Arizona you went to?
Yes.
So when they give you a virtual tour, what are they like? I'm interested in this. Do they... is it like a drone that they've taken a video of and they show you the campus? Is that what happened?
Well, I guess they did a drone, and it was already a video that was made that showed the dining hall, the apartments, and other things around the campus, the libraries, the essential stuff.
So obviously you get to go somewhere, see it firsthand. And that's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big difference maker. So how were you allowed to visit Rutgers at that time? Was it just protocols were being lifted at that time to go visit?
I feel I guess it was mostly Hillary. She really wanted me to visit really badly.
That's awesome.
I guess that's why I came here, because she wanted me. She was like, I want you to come in person and visit. So
that's a good recruiter.
Yeah.
The heck with the protocols. Let's get out here and have you visit, and we'll do this safely or whatever and figure it out.
Yeah.
How long did it take you after that visit? Did you still usually when kids, we work with plenty of kids, it's usually always the last visit they have. That's kind of the most in their mind. Was that the last visit you had?
I think it was the second or third visit.
Okay.
I think Arizona was the first one, and then it was Rutgers, and then I was actually about to visit Indiana, but then I just committed to Rutgers.
So the last visit you had in general with schools, you committed to it?
Yes.
Yeah. Usually that's what happens. You get that in your mind. It's in your brain, especially with a COVID problem. You're like, that's it, I want to go. So did you commit? You got home, you said, this is the school I'm going to, and that was it?
Yeah, so, it took me a week to decide, which I feel like some other people, when they see a school, like, they commit, like, within the third day or something. But I don't know. I feel like my mindset was just on, like, trying to be a professional tennis player.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, choosing right away was kind of difficult. But, at the end of the day, I really love the campus, so I think that's why I chose it.
So as part of this mental toughness series we're going on, we were discussing how, mental toughness is kind of how it's a little bit how you're wired, and you can create it. Your brain has neuroplasticity, and you can learn to be a little bit more mentally tough. But speaking that you come from a kind of athletic family with your sisters and things like that, do you think it was environmental, or do you think it's more wired in your family and genetic for you to be not just athletic, but you have to have a certain mental aptitude to play on that level? Did you grow up in a certain way? Was your family, like I've told 100 people, Tiger Woods' father was screaming at him during his backswing, all those things to create mental. Was there any type of way you were raised, or any type of way that you started to play these sports early as a kid that geared you to be more mentally tough than not?
Yeah, so I feel like it all came from my mom. My mom has always loved sports. She's very athletic. She played a lot of sports in Mexico. So for me, having her pushing me through juniors, like being a swimmer first, she loved swimming. She always wanted me to swim. So I swam for 6 years, and then I started playing tennis because of my dad, actually, because he loves tennis.
Okay.
So I just got into these two sports because my parents love these two sports. But I feel like they never really pressured me to be, like, really good. I feel like most of the pressure came within myself. I'm the type of person who's, like, very perfectionist. I like to do things, like, the right way. So I feel like it mostly came from myself, not really my sisters or my parents, but obviously having my sisters go through the process through college made things a little easier for me.
Do you think your father or mother is more of a perfectionist themselves? What do you think?
I feel like my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take after her, you think?
Yeah. Yeah,
so that's
for sure.
probably, there's a little genetics there. So they didn't push you. It's kind of good to have athletes in the family, because when you have whatever you may call it, weekend warrior parents, or parents that are not athletes but they want their kids to be, they don't understand the dynamic, and they put too much pressure on their kid, and they don't seem to understand you're going to lose this match today, or you'll win this match, or some practices won't go well. And, athletes understand that, and I think that's a great way. It's great to have. Sometimes it could be bad, but it's great to have great athletes in the family, because they understand not every day is going to go your way, and it's a long process. And sometimes you'll practice and it'll be crappy, and sometimes you'll not play a good match and win, and play a great match and lose, and that's the way things go. So, did you find yourself competitive with your sisters at all, though, or was it just? You said you had this internal competitiveness, but did you find like it pushed you? That they were good athletes?
Yeah, I think it definitely did push me. I mean, just seeing them, like, play at a D1 level, having full scholarship, I feel like definitely that pushed me a lot. And going back to my mom, I did have a little pressure, but in the matches, but it came a little bit from my mom. But I feel like sometimes it was in a good way.
Are you kidding me? My father used to smack the window. We used to play matches in tournaments. He'd lose it. He'd bang the window and tell me what I said. Like, he would lose it when I was playing. Like,
Yeah.
You're playing tournaments and USTAs. Sometimes you just couldn't hold on. I'm sure. Did you ever have your mother? It's okay. I'm sure you still love her, and I'm sure she knows you love you. Did she ever just lose it once and just be like?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I remember this match. Actually, it was in North Carolina, and I remember the girl. I lost to her, obviously, but she was the type of girl who would just put the ball back in play, push it around.
Yeah.
So my mom kind of just got so mad with me. She just left me. She's like, get out of the car and stuff. I don't want you here anymore. So I was like left on the street, and for 5-10 minutes, I was like, no. But then she obviously came back for me. But it was that moment that I will have that for me forever.
It's amazing how you remember the kid and you remember the match. And, that's parenting I believe in, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of kidding. But it's like, look, I mean, we're still humans. Parents are humans, right? And you lose it. And if you feel like your kid is not, whether she felt like you were playing silly and you're playing this pusher, you got to be able to beat this pusher, or maybe you quit or you didn't do it, whatever it may be. I always tell every student, I'm sure you feel the same way, it's not whether you win or lose, it's your attitude and effort and how you handle situations, right? So you can, again, like we said, be lazy, win a match, and that's a bad result. That's just not a good way to play. You can play great, work hard, and lose, and that's okay, And
Yeah.
it's so great up there. But to me, that creates, listen, there's a fine line. You don't want a parent to be abusive, but that creates mental toughness. It seems like your environment leads to, you got successful siblings, you got parents that played sports. That creates just a natural environment to say, hey, I'm going to raise my game. They always say you are the 5 people you surround yourself with, and you're around those 4 or 5 people. It's just going to make you naturally go, well, if my sister's doing this is just, and it's doable. It seems more doable too, and more possible. I think people think Division I, and it's hard. It's out of 1,000 athletes, only 10 make it to Division I. Usually, it's really a small percentage. I think it's even less than that now. But when you see it in your house, it just becomes something that is possible and doable.
Yeah, it definitely pushes you for sure.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get a little to the logistics of the questions of what we want to talk about too. You're playing Division I. You're doing a full course load. How's the time management work? How do you feel like? How do you need to budget your time on that level?
Yeah, time management is very important, obviously. So one of the things I like to do a lot is plan over the weekends. I have a planner with me everywhere I go. That's very important for me to have. I like to plan out my assignments on the weekends, the lectures I have to go over, and then also in between classes, I like to start homework assignments right away. I don't like to procrastinate, so once I know I have an assignment, I start on that right away. And then also, I feel like social media and phones, it's a lot. So what I try to do is just put my phone away, do work on my homework or my lecture for 1 hour, and dedicate my time to that 1 hour, and then I'll have a 5-minute break and look at my phone. I feel like now in these days, students are just on their phone a lot, so that makes them procrastinate a lot with what they need to do.
Do you feel like, and we'll get into a brain and a mental toughness thing, focus thing, how long can you focus for a period of time? Usually the brain can do about an hour and a half. I mean, studying's hard. How long can you keep concentration studying-wise?
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, like I said, max an hour. But yeah, lectures are usually an hour and 20, sometimes even 3 hours. But yeah, you'll see obviously students, some of them in, these lectures looking on their phone every 15, 20 minutes. But for me, it's just important to just put it away, focus on what you have to do, and try to be engaged as much as possible.
We had a student here that went to Stanford, and he made a great comment just in high school. He said, I don't really study that much. I just focus during class. And if you focus during class and pay attention, it won't be so confusing, and the assignment will be easy. Most of the people just don't pay attention to what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's because of the phone, too. It just distracts you, and you're not focused. Speaking of focus and goals, do you set goals? Do you write them down? Do you have long-term, short-term goals that you set for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I have a vision board in my dorm, so I like to have personal goals, well-being goals, and tennis and academic goals. So I like to write down my short-term goals, such as going to the gym or eating healthier, to achieve these long-term goals throughout this long season, because it can be long sometimes. So for me, having these short-term goals is very important.
Yeah, so you can feel like you're accomplishing something instead of something being so far out there,
Right.
and then you're just like, oh my God, this thing is so far away. But if you can just say, hey, I got up and I ran today, or I worked out, it feels good. Can you share us one long-term goal for yourself?
One long-term goal is how I want my season to be. So usually I try to say like, okay, for this season I want to have 16 wins or like 9 losses. So having a better winning record for me every year is very important.
So speaking of the season, how did
Yeah.
you feel? Did it match some of your goals before the year?
Yeah, so actually I started off very well fall season. I won a lot of matches. I felt good on the court. My game plan, I stuck to that game plan. And then early in the spring season, definitely had a lot of wins too. And I beat some people that I lost to freshman year, so that was really good for me. And then starting the Big Ten matches, obviously they're a little bit more hard for me, but I think overall I managed it pretty good. So yeah, I think
Big
it's
Ten
good.
is it's a tough conference.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, right? Rutgers
Yeah.
has just been in it for how many years now?
In the Big Ten,
Yeah, I mean, I should
probably
know this off the top of my head. What?
7, 8.
Yeah, 7, 8 years. It's still tough.
think so, yeah.
It's still, I mean, recruiting process, all of it. I mean, it's hard to compete on that level. And I think, since obviously the result beating Michigan State even in the conference tournament is a great result to do that. My question to you is, you were saying, and I just had it because you were making me think. So mental toughness, we're in this part. You're playing matches, you're going through it. We went through mental toughness and tactics last week. Specific players, maybe you can give some advice on situations, which we've talked about, of how to deal with certain situations and certain players. How do you deal with someone that you feel is, well, what? We had so many different scenarios. One person there was the cheating person, there was the classless person that was always pumping their fist and trying to intimidate you, like in your face kind of thing. And then there was someone that was always trying to give you compliments. I always say worry about the opponent that's always trying to give you compliments because it gets out of your head. Have you ever had a mental situation that you can describe and help everybody out on how to deal with, to say, hey, I went through this situation one time, I didn't handle it right, and this time I was ready to do it? Can you give us any examples of kind of a mental person, somebody that got under your skin that you figured out how to deal with it?
Yeah, so actually this match during the season, we played against Delaware, and the girl was very like, she would scream at you right at your face and say, come on, and stuff like that. So I feel like that for me can get to me like really quickly because they're screaming right into your face.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I feel like the way to kind of just focus on your game and not worry so much about your opponent is having match routines. I feel like, going to the back fence, looking at your racket, putting your racket in your non-dominant hand, and then visualizing how you want to play your point, and then coming back to the baseline and just moving around, jumping around. For me, I feel like that can help and can help other players to not worry about how the opponent is.
We said that last week, right, Santi? Put the racket in your non-dominant hand, routines, and that's why you're talking, and you can equate it to everything. Your goal set, simple goals like running, jogging. When you set routines in life, it helps you stay focused on the court and set routines because it gives you a sense of accomplishment. And say I want to run 3 days a week, and you do that.
Right.
You set those goals, you set a routine, then you know you can stay focused on your routines on the court as well. If you can stay focused, and that's what I try to say. And there was a great interview that Federer had. He was playing Djokovic, and Djokovic was losing his mind. His parents were on the on the stands losing their mind, and they came back to the interview at the press conference. They asked Federer, said, how did you handle that? He goes, I didn't really know what was going on the other side of the court. You just completely stay focused into your routines, and you have to, because you have to It's almost narcissism on the court. You have to think about yourself, and that's it. Because once somebody gets under your skin, you get out of your game, and you start. And people would respond. They'll say, "I'll pump my fist too. I'll scream at them too." But I said, if that's not who you are, you're going to get out of your game and out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, has there any? How about? Now you don't have to mention names. How about partner-wise? How do you deal with partners that you feel like? There's always that partner. There's the emotional roller coaster partner that will play 3 great games and play terrible 3 great games, or the person that'll be say, "Hey, Jackie, listen, you need to do this, this, and this." They'll try to tell you what to do. How do you handle those situations?
Well, yeah. Each player has like their own personality, so I feel like for me, I always tell whoever I play with, my partner, I always tell her like, just focus on like how you want to play, because sometimes the one who I usually play with, she can get really like emotional.
Okay.
So for me, I sometimes have to like make her relax a little bit more. Sometimes we stress too much. So telling her to like, take our time in doubles, have these routines. It's very important because doubles just goes by really quick. Every point goes by so fast. So the fact that we have to just take our time in doubles is very important to be relaxed and not be so stressed.
How was the adjustment period for you for doubles? Because obviously you played doubles where it was longer. I mean, the quick point, the quick set. I mean, did you feel pressure right away, or did you feel like I'm a fast starter? That's fine. How did you take to that quickness of the one double set?
I feel like just a fast start, personally.
Okay.
I feel like, I don't know, each doubles is very different. It really depends on how aggressive, the opponent is as well. And obviously in the Big Ten matches, most of the doubles, especially playing at one, the doubles pairings are so aggressive. Like, they play quick.
Yeah.
Every point is just quick. So I feel like starting off fast is important.
So how is your match prep then? How do you get ready mentally, physically to start fast? Is there any routines that you do before the match?
Well, mentally, I personally, before the night that I played my match, I like to watch YouTube videos. I personally like Simona Halep a lot, so I like to watch her play the night before my match. I also really love listening to like inspirational and motivational videos. I love Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality.
Okay.
And I also like Cristiano. So I like to just hear them before the night of my match. And then physically, I like to jog in the gym before the match. So I also like to do like footwork stuff before the match, and quick reaction with the balls.
Yeah, when I was watching your Spongebob match, I was like, I played for Rutgers. We didn't even have a foam roller. I don't think we owned one. Like, everybody's foam rolling afterwards. There's so many fitness things that we played a match and we just sat around. Like, we didn't do, like, we stretched a little bit, but there's so many things you can do now to keep the blood flow going, to keep you loose, to keep you moving, that we just didn't have that or weren't aware of it. So, speaking to the team, culture-wise, how is the culture set? Is it set from the top? Is it set from Hillary? How does she set that team culture? How do you guys run with that?
Yeah, so our culture in the team, I love it.
Okay.
It's great. It's very unique. I feel like just having a very diverse team makes it a lot of fun. Half of the team internationals and half of us are from here in the U.S., so I feel like that helps a lot. Obviously, having a small team helps a lot with communication-wise. So we always tell each other what we're wanting to do every day and, try to study together or eat at the dining halls, do as much as we can together. And obviously that comes from having a small team and communicating well with each other. And we're a very ambitious team, so we all love to work hard, which I love that because I feel like that's very important to stay motivated throughout the whole season. We're all putting in that extra work, really, so that's very good to have in a team that we're all very ambitious and motivated.
Have you seen any new recruits lately? Have you met any?
Yeah, I met two actually.
Do you get a sense? Does it get very protective, the team, in a group, and say, like, we're a motivated team, we're dedicated? Do you get a feeling and say, hey, how much feedback do you give to Coach Hillary back and saying, well, I don't really know about this person, or yes? How much dialogue is there with recruits?
Yeah, so when Hillary recruits girls, if she thinks that I know her, like, she'll ask me a little bit about the girl. Hey, do you know her personally? And then also sometimes if she knows the girl very well, then she won't really ask us. But I feel like most of the time, if Hillary thinks that we know a recruit, she'll obviously ask us and give us feedback.
How close of friends does the group become? Like, is everyone really close friends, or do you feel like, yes, you are?
Yeah, we're all very close friends. I mean, obviously, we're closer to other girls on the team than others. But overall, yeah, I would say we're very close.
Yeah, that was another thing on the mental side. We had somebody that was super close friends with their doubles partners, but then they were such close friends that they wouldn't talk and fight outside of tennis, and that became a weird dynamic. Mm-hmm. So is there situations, or do you feel like, if we get too close, become too close of friends off the court, it might affect us on the court? I always say over-communicate and say, if we're going to be really close friends, if we don't talk or fight about something, we got to play on the court, and that's the way it is.
No, I feel like even if we're really close on the court, we'll still be really close outside the court. So, yeah, I think.
That's great. Never an issue. Never like a conflict outside the court. I mean, there's so many things going on. You're at school, it's social, things like that. And that's great that you guys have never. That's a great unit that can be very successful when it's that way, when you get along on and off.
I mean, thinking about it, I feel like we've never really had a fight over the team or
that's amazing.
With a specific doubles partner. Like, no.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
I can't, because look, when we played for Rutgers, we travel around. Of course, there was always something going on, but I'm trying to think if we ever had I think that we were generally a pretty close group, Jackie, but there was always something going on. I ended up, Santi, being more annoyed by people than not, because I was always so much more. I was probably a little too serious in college, so I was always focused, always doing this. And if somebody wasn't prepared, it would drive me crazy. But I guess maybe I could have been a little bit. Easier. Do you find yourself? The way you describe yourself, very structured, writing things down, doing this. Are you ever too hard on yourself?
Yes, I am. Especially, practices and in matches, I'm very hard on myself. I like to practice very good every day, give my best intensity with my feet. And I feel like if I don't give my best, I don't do good justice for myself and for my team. So, yes, I am very hard on myself. I think I should not be as hard on myself. And even Hillary tells me this during my matches because she knows I can get into my head, very quickly. So she just tries to tell me, have fun with it. You're playing as one. These matches are going to be tough, so just enjoy it.
Well, there's the mental side. You don't want to beat yourself up, right?
Yeah.
It's hard, though, right?
Yeah,
it's hard when it's when expectations are there. And you're not performing to your expectations, and that's hard. That's a big delta. If your expectations are up here and you're just not playing well, I think the best advice somebody ever gave me: if you play a tournament, you're going to play in 6 or 7 matches. You're going to play 1 or 2 bad matches. It's you're figuring out how to win that match. And if you beat yourself up too much and you get too down, you're not going to get through that match. You have to realize that the match you're going to play a bad match. And you have to realize that. And if you don't, you will give up that match. Some people just can't. They implode and they lose it. So
Yeah.
I think that's the best advice I ever got was you will play a bad match this week and
Right.
realize that. The problem is we think we're going to play perfect all the time. It just doesn't happen. So what kind of advice would you give? Because you went to an academy, and you went to Spain. In regards to that, what do you think was better? Do you like the academy environment better? Or did you like with one coach in Spain working together? What do you think?
Yeah. I like working individually with a coach. I feel like you're just so connected with that coach if you're working one-on-one with the coach. So I felt connected with him a lot. And I feel like I just improved a lot working with an individual coach, whereas working as an academy, it's good because you get to play points and you get to work on what you worked on, with your coach. So I feel like you can benefit from both, but I personally like individual coach and just playing some points with a guy or a girl in the afternoon to work on what I worked with him in the mornings.
To get a little bit more specific on that, do you feel the individual coach is better because they get to know you more, know what you need more specifically, and the academy is great for volume and hitting and players, but it's really hard to. Tennis is a very mental game too. It's really hard to get the nuance of that person. Is that what you think? Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like. I liked both. I liked Spain a lot. I mean, it was an academy there, but I didn't feel connected with one coach.
Okay.
So it was hard for me to just go up to him and tell him, like, hey, what did I do good? What did I do wrong? And I understand, like, there's so many players, right? But I feel like you do improve more with an individual coach.
So does that bond still help? Do you still talk to your coach from Spain? Does he still give you advice? You send him videos? Because that'll happen a lot. You'll get connected. You'll need that piece of advice. That piece of feedback is huge.
Right. Yeah, I still talk to him a lot. Any questions that I have, he's always like, please, like, contact me. So, yeah, I mean, whether if that's a question I have over fitness, over mental, or game style, like, he's always there for me.
So you're in New Jersey. You're from Atlanta. Some people go to school. They like it. They want to stay. How do you feel about after school? Do you want to try to play professionally? Do you want to, if you didn't, would you want to get a job in this area, or do you want to feel like you want to go back home? I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of options, but I mean, I love tennis. I would like to keep playing pro tennis after college. That's my goal. But if not, I mean, I love New Jersey. I like it a lot. I like how you have the beach, the, mountains to ski, everything here in New Jersey. So if I don't play pro tennis, then I think I would probably be fine here in New Jersey. But if I could get a job in Atlanta, I would probably prefer going back to Georgia.
Atlanta's a nice town too. I mean,
Yeah.
It's blowing up like crazy. A lot of film people down there too. It's been one of my wife's cousins is a film producer, and he's down there doing a production. So it's become a hotbed for film too down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, a lot.
So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with your choice there. So
Yeah, Georgia's amazing. Yeah.
hey, maybe it's wherever you get the job
Yeah.
or wherever it happens, right? You'll get a
Right.
great offer somewhere. Or do you want to play any tournaments over the summer? What are you thinking about doing over the summer?
Yeah, for sure. Playing UTR 25Ks, also playing ITA summer circuit, and possibly play a few WTAs in Tunisia or somewhere over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple other mental toughness ones. We went over just weather. How do you deal with sun, wind, crosswind? How do you manage those situations? Sun's high in the sky. You got to serve. How do you deal with it? You think?
Right. I mean, wind. Yeah, we experienced that a lot, March and April. So I feel like for me, what helps me a lot to not worry so much about the wind is focusing a lot on my feet, like jumping around, being very intense with my legs, getting low. So I try to focus on the little things with my feet because I know if my feet are moving well, I can play well with the wind. So, yeah.
How about the sun? I told people that I would toss and try to flip my hand and block the sun if it was right up in my eyes, or I change the angle of my toss a little bit. How do you do it?
For the sun, yeah. I mean, having different toss, knowing where the sun is, and also when it's like overhead, how the sun's right
brutal.
there. So
or let it bounce.
yeah,
You can.
let it bounce, or like try to like cover it with my palm. So yeah, that's what
Surface-wise, what do you like better? What do you like best?
I do. Hard.
Yeah.
I love hard.
You grew up on the hard courts,
Yeah.
probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the East Coast, anywhere in the United States, you're probably playing on the hard court.
Yeah.
But you were in Spain, right? Didn't you play on a lot of clay?
Yeah, a lot of red clay over there. But I don't know, sliding is very hard for me.
I was
So.
I was never good at sliding. Santi, were you any good at sliding, Santi? No, I was never good at sliding. I was a serve and volley guy, so I like to play on the grass.
Yeah.
And I like the hard court because I like the bounce. I like to take everything on the rise.
So you like grass?
I liked grass a
Oh,
lot, and I
nice.
liked hard courts a lot because it was. I liked it because I sliced. I did a
Yeah.
lot of chipping and charging coming in, so the grass would stay low. It was a lot of fun, and it was
Yeah.
just a quicker game. I was impatient.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't stay on the baseline for too long. I mean, I just needed more. It was weird. I just needed more action. I wanted to come in. I wanted to volley, and when I grew up playing, McEnroe and all those, they were great volleyers. Everybody served and volleyed.
Right. Yeah.
That was the game,
Yeah.
a long time ago, and it's just changed so much. Even Sampras, he served and volley too, so you love that kind of game. But it's just changed. The surfaces have all changed. I mean, if you know the history of the surfaces, they've made them all more similar. So the grass used to be a lot faster. They changed the grass so it would bounce higher.
Mm-hmm.
So you get all these ground strokers able to win because they wanted all these great athletes to play on all the surfaces. Years ago, if a clay quarter played on the grass, it was crazy. It would never happen.
Yeah.
So Nadal winning Wimbledon is very rare because the grass was so much faster back then. They just
Yeah.
couldn't deal with it. But they've changed it so they can all play on it. I don't know. I kind of like the fact that one was really fast, one was really slow. But it is what it is. You want everybody to play.
Yeah.
But Jackie, how can people ask you questions, reach out to you? Social media, where are you at?
Social media?
Yeah.
In terms of,
Instagram, Twitter, wherever you are.
yeah.
So everybody can know, reach out to you, ask you questions, whatever.
Oh, like what's my
Yeah.
social media?
Yeah.
Oh, like my username?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, your username. It's not a trick question.
Yeah. Jackie _ wacky 7031. That's my Instagram. And then Snapchat is Jackie _ wacky 76.
Some people may have questions or follow requests or things like that because a lot of young players, a lot of people need advice.
Yeah.
Last question for you. Going through the recruiting process, would you do anything different? Would you give anybody advice in high school going through the recruiting process now? Would you have them be more aggressive? Would they reach out to people? What would be your couple of tips of advice to high school kids?
Yeah. So, I mean, I know junior tennis, like, we can get a little bit stressed when there's a college coach watching us play. So I feel like just focusing on your game and focusing on giving your best effort, because I feel like college coaches are looking at how you compete on the court, and then they'll look at your game style, but most importantly, how you compete. So, and also just enjoy the process. I mean, and if you really want to go to a certain school, then yeah, reach out to the coach, email them, and hopefully that they respond back. And if not, we'll keep your options open to other schools.
Yeah, that's what Hillary was saying. She said, sometimes I just won't get an email. I'll miss it. So email me again.
Yeah.
Email me again if you have to. It's okay to be aggressive in those situations
Yeah.
if you really want to go to that school.
If you really want to go, then just keep emailing them.
Well, Jackie, it's been great. It's been great to
Yeah.
meet you. It's great to get some information. Before you go, what did you play this year, singles and doubles?
Yeah, so I played number 1 singles the whole season, and then doubles I played 1 and 2.
Well, there's not much goal to go after that. So is there a goal for you in regards to record next year for yourself individually?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to be ranked, so hopefully next year I can be ranked top 100 in singles, and hopefully be ranked in doubles as well.
It'd be
That's my
great to
goal.
play in the NCAAs too, wouldn't it?
Yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
yes, it would be. Well,
Yeah.
we're rooting for you.
Thank
It's
you.
great to talk to you. Thank you for giving the advice. Mental toughness story. Everybody, thanks for listening. Santi, it's always thanks to you, Santi, for creating a great production, my friend. Everybody, thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Hey, everybody. Hope you like the podcast. Please share it with your friends, anybody that you know, anybody that's into tennis, anybody that's into bettering themselves. Share it.